Today we're going to be talking about sneaky carbs, like sneaky, like you didn't know they were there and they might be causing you some trouble. So I think we need to talk about this, and let me tell you why. Recently, I was at the dollar store buying my water flavor packets. I usually go, I'm not going to say how often, but I'll go to the dollar store and I'll spend like $30, $35 on an assortment of flavors. Here's just a couple that I happen to pick up. And I buy all of them. I have like the colors of the rainbow. I'm such a little kid. So anyway, I bought all my Kool-Aid flavor for my water. And then I started looking at the nutritional label. And I was like, hey, there's some things going on here that I was not aware of. And this was very upsetting. Let's just be real. I was very upset because I drink a lot of these. I drink probably a gallon of water a day. And so the fact that some of these have more carbs than I expected was very upsetting. So the Weilers, which I guess I don't know why, but I always assumed it was 0. Oh my goodness. I'm looking here at the back. It's 3 grams of net carbs per packet. Is anyone else getting upset about this? Now, they weren't always bad. Some of these were a nice surprise, like the Kool-Aid brand. This one was only 1 gram of net carbs per packet. But some of the other packages that I happened to buy, the serving size was half a packet. And I'm like, this is not fair. So I need to get to the bottom of this. If this is happening to me and I am the dirty, lazy keto queen, then I bet it's happening to you too. Here's the problem. When you have a sneaky carb that you're not like planning on in your food or drink in your daily routine, then this might like put us out of ketosis. It might put us over the edge. It might start like a sweet tooth craving, and that might start us from overeating, right? Because if your blood sugar kind of goes, then the next thing you know, you're overeating to compensate. That's bad. We don't want that to happen. So let's take a deep dive today into pesky carbs and what you can do to stop it. So I went through my whole kitchen and uncovered some sneaky carbs. So I want to help you avoid them. So don't laugh, but I've got like my entire refrigerator here in the office. Okay? So let's get started. I have 10 examples that I'm going to go through of the types of sneaky carbs that I want you to, be aware of and watch out for. So 10 types. First of all, do you know how to read a nutritional label? I kind of showed it real fast, I went boop, 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 and I had all the answers for you. But just in case you don't know how, I want to remind you on page, Lord help me, I need the glasses. Here we go, page 38. This is 38 in Dirty Lazy Keto, Get Started Losing Weight While Breaking All the Rules. Page 38, there's a quick review about how to read a nutritional label. So if you need help with that, it's right here in your book. You can just flip to that page. I also include that in the cookbooks. So if you have a copy of the Dirty Lazy Keto Cookbook, number 1, or the Dirt Cheap Cookbook, the answer can also be found in those books. Okay? All right. So now that that's out of the way and everybody knows what to do, just as a reminder, subtract the amount of fiber and sugar alcohol grams from the total amount of carbohydrates. That's the amount of net carbs that you're left with. That's it in a nutshell. But I go into more detail in the books. So now that that's out of the way, let's dive in and look at 10 areas where those sneaky carbs are maybe causing you some trouble. Because we don't want you to gain weight. We don't want you to have a weight loss stall. No, we don't. And we don't want you to overeat as a result, right? Because I'm still having post-traumatic stress reaction to my water flavor packets. I don't want that to happen to you. Number 1, sugar-free labels. Sometimes you might see on a package that you buy at the grocery store the words sugar-free or no sugar added. I'm trying to point. There we go. See that? So I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll see that on a package and I'll be like, oh, I can have this. I can have it as much as I want because it says sugar-free. It says no sugar added. And I have been known, and I'm sure some of you listening might have done this mistake as well, where you think it's all good, bring it on, and that's it. And then before you know it, you might have a stall or start feeling sugar cravings and you don't know why. Well, let me tell you why. Look at this bad boy. It has 9 grams of net carbs per serving for 1 packet. Hello. For a lot of people, that's like half of their net carb allowance for the day on a stupid packet of hot cocoa mix? I don't think so. So let this be a warning to everyone watching and listening. If you see no sugar added or sugar-free on a label, on a package, I would like you to just take a pause and turn to the nutritional label and make sure there's nothing hiding in there. Sneaky carbs. Okay? This is a serious thing. I've been known to also think when it comes to like sugar-free type products, I'll think, well, if I know it's a sugar-free type product, then I assume all of them are sugar-free. That was the case recently with me. I was buying my cocoa, 100% natural, unsweetened. See, it says unsweetened. I was buying this at the dollar store and I thought I was a genius. I was like, it's only $1. I was using this in smoothies and baked goods and all sorts of things. One day I flipped it around. I did a little investigation. Holy cow, it has 3 grams of net carbs per 1 tablespoon. Now, if you shop around and look at other brands of unsweetened 100% natural cocoa, you will find a difference. That's not fair. Sneaky carbs. So beware of like products that say sugar-free or no sugar added. Beware of categories that you just assume. Because what happens when you assume? Do you know that saying? When you assume, you make an ass of you and me. Right? It's true. You don't want to go down that road. So don't make assumptions because that might be a source of sneaky carbs that is causing you trouble. Let's move on to my tip number 2. I would like to talk about Splenda packets and artificial sweeteners in general. So, a lot of us are familiar with these little packets, and I'm picking Splenda, but really this could be a whole number of different artificial sweeteners or brands. But I'm just picking on this one in particular because I happen to have the stats in front of me. But Splenda has less than 1 gram of net carbs per packet. So that seems kind of harmless. And, we all think, oh, it's sugar-free. Woo! Put it in my coffee, sprinkle it on my blueberries, put it in my yogurt. I use this all the dang time. Here's the problem though. This is what you may not know. This is 1 gram of net carb or less than 1 gram of net carb per packet. But what happens when you're starting to have more than just 1 packet? Because I'll be honest, when I make some of my recipes, like my sugar-free cheesecake, for example, I'm using a heck of a lot more than 1 packet. I'm using like a cup or a cup and a half or whatever my recipe calls for. Now, if you look at the nutritional label on, this is from Walmart. This is just the Walmart brand of sucralose. If you look at the nutritional label, it's talking about 1 teaspoon still. Seriously? Why? No one's using this for a teaspoon. People are using this for baking. But sneaky. The nutritional label says, oh, no problem. Less than 1 gram of net carb per serving. Well, the serving is 1 teaspoon. Who is using 1 teaspoon making a cheesecake? No one is. Exactly. So here's something that might shock you. If you were to measure out a full cup of this product and try to find out the nutritional information, you'll have to go to Splenda for Professionals website. I don't know why. I'm not a professional. But I had to do a lot of deep research to find out it has 22 grams of net carbs. 22 per cup. That is a lot. That is a source of sneaky carbs. So if you're using a lot of artificial sweetener, depending on the brand or the style, I know there's a lot, but do your research. Don't just assume that it has no net carbs like the nutritional information might lead you to believe. That's a good tip, right? I was blown away by that, and I'm the author of Dirty Lazy Keto. I was so upset. This is a real problem. That's why I gathered all this stuff today for my kitchen, because I want to help you not make these same mistakes, uncover the sneaky carbs, because let's face it, our carbs are delicious and we want to spend them in good places, not like accidental places. Okay, moving on. I want to share with you spice blends. Spice blends are super easy. For example, ranch seasoning packets, two different brands here, maybe Indian seasoning packets, maybe taco powder. Now I realize this is dirty, lazy keto. Okay, I am the author. I did invent the term dirty, lazy keto. However, I have to be honest with myself that if I'm going to use some of these products, I need to account for the extra grams of net carbs that are slipping in here. Now, a lot of these products have maltodextrin. I don't even know what that is. I don't really care. It also has sugar. Now, I do care about that. They both don't sound very good for me. However, I am lazy, and in my cooking, I take a lot of shortcuts. That helps me stay on track. That's how I've helped keep 140-pound weight loss off, is I take shortcuts. I'm not trying to be perfect. I just am encouraging you to take a note of how many net carbs are in these products. So here in this Indian product, this Indian spice blend for chicken tikka masala, which I love. I love Indian food. This has 3 grams of net carbs per 2 teaspoons. Okay. Here we go with the ranch powder. This has 0 grams of net carbs per 1/4 teaspoon. Now, here's the deal. When I cook with these, and I use these a lot, I don't use 1/4 teaspoon. I use the whole packet. So what do I have to do? I have to times the serving size by the quantity that's included in the package. So I can't say, oh, it's 0 for 1/4 teaspoon. No, that would be a source of hidden carbs. Instead, I need to calculate the entire package. That makes sense, right? That would be the same thing for using like a taco seasoning blend. This happens to have 3 grams of net carbs per 2 teaspoons serving. And when I make tacos or season my meat for like a Mexican dinner, I use probably quite a bit more than 2 teaspoons. So what do I have to do? Be honest with myself. Sneaky carbs will sneak right into your waistline and mess up everything unless you're honest with yourself and just do the math. Just measure out how much you're actually using. And that way, no sneaky carbs. You like that? I think so too. Okay. Woo, I got a whole tray of stuff here. I'm going to get it out. It's heavy. Now, in the spirit of getting ready for today, I broke a bottle of syrup in my kitchen. It was the things I do, right? Seriously. I have this whole heavy thing of stuff I was trying to carry, and one of them slipped out of my little hands. But the reason I'm bringing this giant thing from my refrigerator is these are all condiments. So I want to take a deep dive into the condiments in my refrigerator and just make some general comments about condiments. Make some general comments about maybe some areas that you'll find pesky, hidden, sneaky carbs. I'd like to break these down into 2 categories, if I will. So in condiments, there's 2 different categories. First, there's this doesn't count. Does anyone do that? Like, oh, this doesn't count. It's just a little bit, right? Like, oh, it's teriyaki sauce. It doesn't count. I'm just, a little tiny bit on my pork fried rice that I just make from Stephanie's cookbook. Just a little bit. Okay. So if you're doing that, if you're doing this little bit doesn't count, and if it's not, it might not be a sweet product, but it could even be a sugar-free product, right? Like sugar-free barbecue sauce. You might not be counting these carbs. You might think, oh, it's just a little bit, right? I'm dip my little chicken nuggets in here or, use it for my chicken. But you have to count these carbs. This is 2 grams of net carbs per 2 tablespoon serving. And it's a sugar-free product, but let's be real. These carbs still count, even if they're sugar-free. Okay, so sneaky carbs, pay attention because they can add up fast, right? So I did mention this doesn't count, which we've all been there, right? Let's be real. But then the second category of condiments is I have no idea what it is. Now, I've done this one too, where I'm like, well, I don't know. Like maybe the label's not in English, or I don't know. I can't find it in any of my literature or on the websites that I look at. Like here's rice vinegar. I don't know. It doesn't count because I don't know. Anyone? Okay, so just because you don't know the answer to how many net carbs is in a mystery condiment doesn't mean it doesn't count. Okay, right? Okay, we're being honest with each other here. I'm trying to help you uncover sources of sneaky carbs, and this could be one of them. So you have to look it up and just be 100% honest with yourself. I can't read it because I don't have my glasses on. Okay, moving on. You'll have to look it up. I don't use that product because I just know it's out of my world. A lot of these I don't use, like teriyaki sauce. Even though it has 2 grams of net carbs per tablespoon, I just don't use it. No, thank you. I don't need to go down that path in life. There's certain things I'm better without because I love them, and then I'll want like way too much. Couple more in the category of mystery products, like agave. I remember when I first started trying to lose weight, trying to cut carbs, I was like, oh, I can have agave. That's like natural. And then, did anyone else do that? Oh, it's natural. I can have that. Honey, that's natural. That's probably good for me. No, I don't think so. This is basically just syrup in a bottle. We don't want any of that. So anytime you come across stuff that's super sweet and citrusy, dressings, marinades, yeah, you can't just bow out and say, it looks healthy. Citrus is good for you. No, this is a source of hidden carbs. So be honest with yourself, take a deep dive. Don't say, I'm just having a little bit of ketchup. That doesn't matter. Yes, it does. Come on. There's sugar-free ketchup available or no sugar added ketchup available. Choose a better product. Just don't lie to yourself. Or if you're going to have some of the real deal, make sure that you're being accountable and honest and, maybe even measuring. That way you don't get too crazy. Here's one more I'll throw out at you. Balsamic vinegar. For me, this was a mystery item. I was like, I don't know what that is. Does it not count if I don't know? It still counts, people. You got to look stuff up and look at multiple sources. Another one for me was hoisin sauce. There's a restaurant I really like to get takeout from, and they serve their chicken with hoisin sauce. I was like, I don't know what that is. Must not count, right? So I kept ordering it all the time. And then, right, you know what happened? I started getting like sugar cravings afterward. Maybe my weight kind of was all over the place. And it was because of the hoisin sauce, because I love it. I didn't want to admit it was true. It was a sneaky carb. This can be true for pancake syrup. We all love our syrup. I honestly will lick the plate. I'm just saying. So I have to account for every drop of sugar-free syrup. Every drop. I take my sugar seriously. Please don't laugh. That's not fair. I bet you do this too. Some of you anyway. Who will maybe tell me afterward. All right. Moving on, I want to go to tip number 5 when you're looking for pesky hidden carbs. And this is my message to eat the good stuff. So I'm going to show you 2 different brands of Parmesan cheese. This is like the grated powdered stuff from the grocery store. Now this is Walmart brand, so I'm not being too fancy when I say eat the good stuff. And over here, this is from the dollar store, which I'm so cheap. You guys know I'm the author of the Dirt Cheap Cookbook. I like to buy things on the cheap. However, one day, started looking at the nutritional label. Again, I'm noticing there's a big difference. Now, that's not fair. Why? Why is that happening? They put fillers in there. Really? Really, fillers? Do I need fillers in my Parmesan grated fake cheese? I guess that's how they make money. So I learned that this cheapy stuff has got 1 teaspoon and it has 1 gram of net carbs. And then over here, it's a little bit less. 0 grams for 2 teaspoons. So even better, I get twice as much and I'm getting 0 grams of net carbs. But again, I didn't know that until I checked the label. So there's a lot of sneaky ways people, these customers, I don't know, they're taking advantage of us sometimes. Don't let that happen to you. I love Costco. I love to buy their shredded cheese. I'm sure you do too, or wherever you like to grocery shop. I like to buy cheese in bulk. I freeze it, which is an uber cheap method. But here's the thing, when you buy shredded cheese of any flavor, be aware that they generally add potato starch to the mix. Why? They want to prevent it from clumping and getting all gross. That's a technical term. Okay? But I'm not going to go grating my own cheese. Are you? For 1 gram of net carb? No, I'm not. I'm going to go ahead and let them do that. However, I'm going to be aware of the fact that most cheese has 0 grams of net carb per 1 ounce. But when I buy shredded cheese, I have to account it may have 1, sometimes 2, sometimes 3, according to the brand, gram of net carb per 1 ounce serving. So, sneaky, right? I told you I'm going to try to help you find all the sneaky carbs. All right. I'm moving on. I just finished my condiment drawer. All right. So buy the good stuff. That can also be applied to cream cheese. I notice a big difference between the brands. Yeah. And then we talked about cocoa earlier. The 100% cocoa, unsweetened cocoa. Big difference among the brands. So, take a look at the label. The biggest message today is I don't want you to blindly trust a category. Okay, so this is tip number 6. Please don't think, oh, it's sugar-free pudding. I can have it all. We kind of mentioned that earlier. Just saying something's sugar-free doesn't mean it doesn't have carbs. A lot of people, when they're new to Dirty Lazy Keto, I see them post, I'm mixing heavy whipped cream with sugar-free pudding, and it's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, that's because it's got a boatload of sugar in it. And if you flip it over, this is a Simply Delish brand, but this has 9 grams for a quarter of the box. Can I just pause for effect? Like, that's ridiculous. No one wants that many carbs in stupid sugar-free Jell-O. So just pass on that sort of thing. Don't be caught up in it. Don't trust those blind categories. I used to think like all Italian dressing was fine. No, it's not. Even though this Olive Garden, which used to be one of my favorites, it has 2 grams of net carbs per 2 tablespoons serving. Even though that's pretty low in my book, I didn't realize that this product contains corn syrup. I was appalled when I found that out. Now, I know this is Dirty Lazy Keto, but for me, I don't do well when I eat corn syrup. Corn syrup to me just instantly packs on weight, and then I start getting sugar cravings. So I avoid it myself, and I don't want that. So I don't buy this anymore. And I don't trust, I don't blindly trust my salad dressings. Even if I'm picking up like blue cheese or ranch, which I consider to be probably the best option, even these I'll take a look and spin it over on the back. And this one has 1 gram of net carbs per 2 tablespoons because some of these have added sugar. So take a look, and you have to count those. They're not freebies, right? Number 7. Are you taking notes? I'm just kidding. Okay, number 7, be careful of untrustworthy sources. I know a lot of us don't know where to turn for information. So we're looking at like Carb Manager, we're going to MyFitnessPal, we're just asking our friends, we're guessing. But when you blindly trust a source like that, keep in mind that you may have wrong information. That was something I worked really hard in the Dirty Lazy Keto Get Started Losing Weight, is I researched every single food that's low in carb, and I went to like 10 different reference points to make sure I had the correct information. That was a lot of work. It took me weeks, months, years to come up with this list. And it's all in here for you. It starts on page, oh my gosh, I can't even read, 233. It's page 233 if you have your book at home. And it's about 15 pages long, 250 food items. And that's not even counting the alcohol section. That's an additional, area of foods that you can look up. So trust my source. And if you're looking at Carb Manager, MyFitnessPal, know you're going to get maybe some wrong information. My girlfriend told me yesterday, she's like, I just picked the lowest one. I thought that was so funny. I'm like, really? You know better. You don't pick the lowest one, like at least pick the highest one, because that's all self-reported information. It's just people typing in their answers. It's not a verified source. So keep that in mind. Number 8. I want to bring up, I've had to keep this in my office, so that's just for you guys. Number 8, I want you to be aware of processed meats. This is a ham I got right here in my Ziploc. lunch meat, bacon, processed meat, Spam, all of that is yummy on Dirty Lazy Keto, and I certainly enjoy taking little shortcuts like this, and so does my family for convenience. But I am very aware of the fact that a lot of these products contain added sugar. So I'm very careful when I shop for my lunch meats. I flip the package over and read the nutritional label and make sure it doesn't have added sugar. And I take a look at how many carbs are in it per serving. And then I limit myself to that per serving, or I account for it and recognize how many net carbs it has. So just because this is lazy keto, dirty lazy keto, doesn't mean you're not counting stuff. You still are keeping track in your brain and being honest with yourself. I think that's something people forget. So don't forget about the meats. My gosh, there's 2 more. I'm like running out of time. I'll keep going though, because this is very important. We can't skip. Number 9, sugar alcohols. Now I realize that everybody's different, right? And most of us with our sugar alcohols, we're doing just fine because it's dirty, lazy keto. But sometimes there are sugar alcohols that cause people trouble. And trouble meaning, raises their blood sugar. And specifically, I want to talk about maltitol. It's a sugar alcohol that a lot of, especially diabetics, have trouble with. So if you're having a reaction, you're eating a product like sugar-free Hershey's candies, or maybe the Russell Stovers, I'm probably saying it wrong, or even some of the Atkins products, take a look at the label. If it has maltitol and you're having like sugar cravings afterward, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm hungry, maybe maltitol is something to stay away from for you. For me, it doesn't really bother me. So if I just have a little bit, I'm fine. Notice I said a little bit. I didn't eat the whole package. But for those of you who maybe are sensitive to it, there are products available. Like here's Chalk Zero's version of chocolate chips. There's also, Lily's. But there are sweets available that are not sweetened with maltitol. So just shop around and make sure that you pick a product that's going to be a better fit for you. Because you don't want those sneaky carbs having a bad effect, right? There's also a lot of variety when it comes to marinara sauce, almond flour. You might see, I know those are not sugar alcohols, but you'll see like a lot of variances in terms of how you react to the brands. So, read the package. That's pretty much the bottom line. Lastly, this is tip number 10. I want you to pay attention to serving sizes. I think it's very easy to overdo certain products. We think we're having 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, and then we are like, oh yeah, that's, 5 grams of net carbs. But really, if you do a deep investigation into your peanut butterness, you might find that you're having like 4 tablespoons, right? There's certain things that are just yummy, and I tend to overdo them. I don't know if anyone else does, but it's really easy to find some sneaky carbs in, some of these delicious products that we all just love and have a hard time stopping. So I hope that was helpful. Those were 10 ways to find sneaky carbs in your foods and drinks, and ways that you can become more successful with your weight loss by keeping track. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed Stephanie Laska's Dirty Lazy Keto tips. If you guys haven't yet bought or ordered a copy of the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook, I hope that you will. I'll ask that you do this. I think it's a great book. It's full of fun tips and stories and information. And if you did pre-order this and you've got your copy in hand, can I ask you pretty please to leave a review on Amazon and Goodreads? Ooh, I'll double the ask this week. Leave a review on Amazon and Goodreads, because that really helps people that are on the fence about this lifestyle. They don't want to hear it from me. They want to hear it from someone who's just started or has been doing this a while, and, an independent person who's made the recipes or read the book and they think it's good. What you have to say really matters, because they're like, Stephanie's not an expert. She's not a doctor. Some people think like that. And I personally think I learn better from a normal person that I can relate to. So if you're having that same experience, I hope that you'll leave an honest review on Amazon and Goodreads.
My whole life I've been taught fat is wrong, fat is evil. I have to eat whole grains. I've actually had someone tell me I would be malnourished if I didn't start eating toast. I'm like,
Wow.
I don't think so. I don't need
Yeah.
toast to survive. But even, a lot of critics will say, oh, you shouldn't eat eggs or fat because that causes high cholesterol. People tell me, oh, you can't lose weight if you're snacking between meals or eating big portions. And even people say, oh, you can't have dessert and lose weight. And I set out to prove all those people wrong, and I did.
It is called the Dirty Lazy Keto Dirt Cheap Cookbook. Isn't that the best name ever? I found so many people use "that's expensive" as an excuse for not wanting to maybe get started with changing their health. Well, I'm the first one to tell you, as a lady that's always on a tight budget, you do not have to buy anything expensive or specialty items or even go to fancy stores. You can do Dirty Lazy Keto at whatever stores or whatever budget that you're currently on, and I'm going to help you.
What is so different about your book from all the other diet books?
Well, I think mainly there's no judgment about your lifestyle. I think that's key, just as a big umbrella term about Dirty Lazy Keto. There's no judgment. If you want to drink Diet Coke or beer or put sugar-free sweetener in your coffee or even drink like sugar-free Red Bull, like do it. This is your life. You need to be able to have lunch meat or peanut butter, shredded cheese, a protein bar. These are normal foods. And my family, we eat fast food. We shop at Walmart. I don't buy expensive, fancy pants type ingredients that are going to blow my family's budget. So that's one thing. I think that Dirty Lazy Keto is more affordable. I think it's flexible. I think it's doable. Like I mentioned, other diet books, keto included, they're very black and white. It's always set up as a do or die situation where you have to follow the rules and you have to eat all this stuff. And if you don't, it doesn't work. Well, I think there's another way. So no thanks, buddy. I don't want, that's what I like, no thanks, buddy. I don't want any of that. My book is the opposite of all of that. I think that losing weight is not just about cutting carbs. We're not putting anything in our cookbooks that you can't buy at Walmart and that's affordable. Because that's how we operated. At times, one of us was not working or both of us, there were times where both of us were out of a job. And we had, very limited funds. So for me, it was important to recommend the same types of foods that I eat. It's all real food, nothing fancy.